Hi, shalom everyone. Good evening here from Israel. Going to continue the daily series of the Talmud. We are on Masechet Bava Kama, Daf Yomi, that's page 12 naturally. As you can see, I've got some pages here, some documents. And we're talking all about how documents are critical within regards to loan documents, especially during the sabbatical year, every 7 years. Naturally, we know there's a Shmittah year, and it's very, very significant because we see, actually, inside the Torah, among other things, that the sabbatical year annulled most private loans. And this we actually see in Sefer Devarim, in chapter 15, in verses 1 to 3, it describes it respectively. So there was an issue over here that happens because after the 7th year, loans could get released. So maybe people will not want to give out loans because they know that they might not get the money back due to this specific license. So recognizing that lenders were reluctant to offer loans as the sabbatical year approached, which was itself forbidden by the Torah, to give back the money, the amount of money. If someone owes some money, then they don't have to give it back once it comes after the 7th year. So there was a rabbi of the name Hillel Hazaken, who we learn about. There's a lot of great stories about him. We see all throughout the Gemara. He established a specific method that would allow the lenders to collect the debts that were owed to them even after the sabbatical year. So how is this? Because we thought after the sabbatical year, someone has given a loan, it's revoked over here. So which formula has Hillel Hazaken, the great Rabbi Hillel, actually formulated over here? So I'll tell you now. He established this method. His suggestion was, he suggested something, to write a document. So we're talking all about documents here. But what's inside this document? The document is called a Proozbol. A Proozbol is something I talked about in this series also before at a previous stage in another Masechet about a year ago. That effectively turns the loan over to the courts itself. It won't be an individual collecting this loan. Now it's going to get authorized to the courts to deal with, which were not constrained by the laws of Shmittah. We know that if it's a private loan and a private individual, that might be constraints over there. But if it's given over to the court, this sort of constraint is going to be taken away. It's a license to get it. So since they do not apply to public debts over here, so the courts can take over this over here. Thus, when the sabbatical year was over, the court will be collecting the debt rather than the individual himself. So this legal fiction was viewed as a benefit for both the rich, who would now be able to recover their loans, because people might not want to give out loans over here. So now there's that sort of buffer zone, that sort of collective relaxation over here. And it's also going to protect the poor over here. How the poor? Naturally, we all know who would now be able to borrow money when they needed to, because now there's not going to be people saying, oh, I'm not going to lend because I'm not going to get the money back. Now there's like sort of that license where there's not that worry over here within regards to recovering the money. According to the book, the Sifrei, it appears that the law annulling debts during Shmittah applies only to the creditor, but not when the loan was turned over to the court. So what's interesting is Hillel's legal document over here allowed the debt to be taken over by the court without promissory notes actually changing hands. So there's that approach over there. However, another approach is that the law of Shmittah Kesafim, this is monetary sabbatical, applies even if the loans is turned over to the court. So what the Proozbol actually is going to accomplish over here, there's obviously a main objective of the Proozbol is effectively adding a condition to the loan, allowing it to be collected through the medium of the Tanai Sheba Ma'amon Ka'ayam, that in money matters over here, any agreed upon condition applies, even if it negates the standard rules as presented by the Torah. So what's actually interesting, just to add on another note with regards to this, our Gemara actually quotes a Braita. The Braita actually teaches that a Proozbol will only be effective if the borrower over here owns land that can secure the loan over here. That would be imperative according to this Braita. Owning, for example, servants, slaves, would not be a sufficient guarantee over here. It's got to be actually karka, land, which will have to be owned by the individual. Now, the commentator of the name Rashi, who was a big commentator inside the Gemara, explains the need for land as a basis for a Proozbol. Why has land got to be a basis for a Proozbol? As stemming from the fact that this law applied to normal loans over here. In order to be considered a normal loan, land had to be made available as a guarantee that the loan would be able to be repaid at that. That's why you needed that over here. One extra tidbit is that the word Proozbol is a Greek word. So we've seen many words throughout, especially in Talmud, will actually use words that could be Greek. We have from a Greek nature. We have seen all throughout many of the different parts of the Talmud, which we can expound on later. So this is Daf Yud of Masechet Kiddushin. I would like to dedicate this to all of Am Yisrael to be safe, and just brachot we are going to see from this area. And Be'ez Hashem, hope you all do good. This is actually the 11th video here in Masechet Bava Kama. So hopefully many more. And Be'ez Hashem, we will hear good news. Have a great day and take care.